Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello and welcome to today's episode. Today I'm chatting with Melody from Feathered Fox Designs, and she is giving a very honest interview about ending her balloon business. She speaks really openly about being physically injured, mentally burnt out, just not enjoying the business that she worked so hard to build. So she made this announcement several weeks ago on Instagram. She kind of was counting down to her last installation, and we talk about it all, and we talk a lot about what comes next when you don't know what comes next. So I think this interview is going to be really relatable. I know that we all feel burnout on some degree, and some of us will get to the point where we're just done. We don't want to do it anymore. So this is not by any means the last that we will hear from Melody. She talks about some ideas she has for the future, but right now, how she needed to prioritize herself and her health and take a break. So thank you again to Melody for being so open and using this platform to kind of share stuff she doesn't have to share with anybody if she doesn't want. So I think we all have something to learn. Definitely we'll all relate. And I hope you enjoy. Let's take a quick break and head over to the UGlue hotline and then get into this interview with our friend Melody. Welcome to the UGlue hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks. Brought to you by Pro Tapes. If you have a question or some great advice to share, click the link in the show notes to call in and leave a voicemail.
Hi, my name is LaJuan Duxworth, and I'm calling from Love That Balloon Decor and More. I am in the Chicagoland area. I participated in a parade this past weekend, and one tip I want to share, if anyone is ever participating in a parade, make sure you have enough marketing materials, and make sure you have multiple people on each side of the street handing out marketing material as you walk down the long streets or the long mile. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Pro Tapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Gaff, Pro Artist Tape, and our favorite balloon tape, UGlue, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations in less time. You can save 5% on UGlue when you buy directly from Having a Party using code BRIGHT at checkout. Welcome back again, Melody. We've had some changes since we last talked. So today we are going to get into probably like one of your biggest life shifts when it comes to your business. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'm excited to hear from you. Before we jump in, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Melody Pianga, Feathered Fox Designs. This is now my third time, I think, on your podcast. I'm a mom of three. I'm married. I have a balloon business for the last 5 years that did really, really well. I was, did teaching, all of the things, and just recently decided to shut it down.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I feel like it was like the Instagram post heard around the world.
I know. People were calling me like, wait, what? What is going on? Like, you're like stirring up the community. What's happening? And I'm like,
yeah.
I know. It was a lot. It was a lot, I think, for everybody. It was a lot for me. I think it shocked a lot of people, but it also, I feel like, opened up a lot of conversations, at least on my end, it did. People who have been like in a very similar boat and wanting to kind of, I guess, vent about it. So those are always good conversations to start.
Yeah. I just did I did a poll on Instagram, kind of preparing for this interview. And I just kind of asked what people's statuses were. Like, are you working a full-time job and doing balloons part-time? Like, do you hate your full-time job and you secretly want to do balloons? Are you doing balloons full-time? And then one of them was like, are you doing balloons full-time, but you're kind of miserable? And I think it was like 13% of people chose that one. So, and I said I wouldn't say the names, but like, they were people knew. Like they were
Yeah.
names that people had heard of, kind of some of the bigger, more like successful balloon companies out there. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are pretty miserable. So what
Yeah.
happened? Tell us what happened. How did you get to
Right.
this decision and to this point?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I mean, honestly, like I basically in the last like, or I should say in the first 7 months of this year, I was like on track to almost double what we did the previous year.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was our best year yet. And I did the commercial. I booked some of the highest like paying jobs I've had, booked Tarte. I booked, let's see, Sexy Hair, Virgin Delta, Atlantic, Too Faced. I mean, so many
Yeah.
of these like giant brands. Worked for one of the biggest event companies in California, if not in the United States, who does like the Golden Globes and the SAG Awards and all these accomplishments, right? That we all
Yeah.
strive for. And I'm very thankful for, like, very thankful for them. So I guess, like, from the outside looking in, it's one of those like, she's doing it all and she's got this great thing. And I had a couple people working for me and that was going fairly well.
Mhm.
Um, but for the last, I would say, I mean, I think most people know, 4 or 5, I guess it'd be 5 months now. I had even made a big purchase in the RGB marquees, like the neon RGB marquee.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah, so I, I did that. I mean, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, I had zero plans to
Yeah.
just stop what I'm doing. I mean, I was like, we're just going to go all in for the next 3 to 5 years. And then at that point, I'll kind of start pulling back, figure out what I'm going to do. That was sort of
Right.
quote unquote the plan. But progressively over the last 6 months, I've had a neck injury from like my 20s when I used to be in magic shows doing the same magic trick every night, just destroying my neck.
The one where they cut off your head, that
Pretty
trick.
much. They cut off my head way too many times. But no, I have a bulging disc in C3, C4.
Okay.
And I've been able to rehab it over the years to the point where it doesn't bother me so much that it's just kind of like a nuisance every now and then, whatever. But over the last 6 months, I mean, it's been bothering me for about a year, I would say, but the last 6 months has been really bad and just progressively was getting worse.
Yeah.
Um, so I got to a point where now I was having to take painkillers
Mm,
every day to get through the pain because it was so bad. And then on the
yeah.
weekends, it was impossible for me to go without a painkiller. Like ibuprofen didn't do anything, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm at this point now where I'm having to take something to get through my job. And I just had this and the thing about pain, and this is like probably going a little deeper than people maybe thought, but like the thing about pain is like you cannot think straight when you're in pain. You
Right.
can't truly make like decisions that are really best for yourself and your business when you're in constant pain. And anybody who knows who's had pain like that is just they get it. They get what
Yeah.
that's like. And so I kind of just had this major breakdown, I would say in like July or August, where probably July, where I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is not a life that I want to live. And this is not a
Right.
life that God wants me to live. This is not a life that my family wants me to live. And this is not the only thing that I can do in life. Like, this
Right.
is not what defines me. My success in this business is not what defines me. And I just know that this is not okay. And I don't want to wake up 3 years from now going, like, being addicted to painkillers because I can't
Yeah.
get through my job. And
Yeah.
like, that I have this great, amazing job and I have this great, business that I've built and all the things on the outside look good, but I'm waking up like in pain and in sorrow and sadness and not really feeling like that joy anymore. So
Yeah.
there were a lot of directions I could have gone. And I mean, I'm sorry, I'm just blabbing at this point, but
No, no, no. That was gonna be my next question. Like there were a lot of different kind of solutions. Like
totally.
continuing on wasn't an option. I
Right.
think a lot of us, it's like, well, I'll just keep going. That's one of the options. For you, you didn't have that option.
Right.
But there were still some other things. Like I would imagine you could have hired a manager or, been totally hands off, been an owner. You could have done a lot. So what did you kind of think
Totally.
through?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess there was a lot. So I thought, okay, well, what are my options? I can kind of totally pull back and be like, I'm not going to do installations anymore. I'll just do delivery, right? I'll
Yeah.
just build mosaics and to-go garlands and helium and blah, 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 blah. Um, and honestly, it just didn't sound appealing to me. It
Yeah.
just, I mean, bottom line, didn't sound appealing to me. I was like, I don't really want to just be sitting in a warehouse, jamming things out, just dropping off. And there are positives to that. I think that's actually a really great business model.
Oh yeah, that's totally my retirement plan. Like that, like if I
Right.
got hurt or if I was just like, I don't want to do the weekends anymore, I totally would do deliveries.
Right.
Right
Right.
now, if I did that though, it would like cannibalize what I'm already doing. So like I feel like for me, it's got to be one or the other. But yeah, that is one of my plans.
Yeah, yeah. And I do, and, people ask me too, oh, they're like, why don't you just do this? Or why don't you just do this? And why don't you? I'm like, trust me, I've thought of it all. I
Yeah.
totally understand where you're coming from. I didn't just wake up and say, I'm gonna quit.
Right.
So I understand where people are coming from because they do want to help, but at the same time, like it didn't sound appealing and exciting to me. And not that your job has to be appealing and exciting, but if I'm gonna make this change, I want it to be what's right, for
Yeah.
me at this time. So I'll never say never. It's not that that's not an option in the future. I think really what it came down to was like, it came back to I'm in pain. I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm exhausted. I'm beat. I'm burnout. I'm all of the things. I can't
Mhm.
think straight. Truthfully, I don't know what I want right now. I just want to be done right now. And I
Yeah.
need to take a break and I need to tell everybody to stop contacting me because that was the big thing is honestly, I wasn't even going to announce it, but I'm like, I knew if I didn't announce it, somebody's going to contact me on the back end and I'm going to get sucked back in. There's going
Yeah.
to be that client that's like, Melody, can you do this? Or Melody, can you do that? And then I know myself. It's kind of like taking that thing, like taking the sugar out of the house, right? Take the temptation away. I'm like, I need
Yeah.
to take that temptation out and I need to just say, I need time. I need time to heal myself. I need time to breathe. I need time to figure out what it is that I really want to do and how I want to rebuild. Do I want to rebuild a delivery? Do I want to train people and have them go out for me? Maybe I do. I
Yeah.
honestly don't really know. Like,
Yeah. Right.
yeah, it's like I don't know right now. And that was actually probably the hardest. That was the hardest decision was like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know how to move forward, but I know I cannot continue to do
Yeah.
this right now. So I'm just going to make the first step and I'm going to say, stop. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to heal. I'm going to organize all the things I couldn't do when I was grinding, grinding, grinding.
Yeah.
And then I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that's exciting. Let's take a quick break and then I want to talk about a little bit about what's next, but
Yeah.
more like what's next as in like tomorrow. I'm
Okay.
curious what you're kind of working on right now. Okay, we'll be
Okay.
right back.
Sounds good.
Are you ready to take your balloon business to the next level? Look no further than Having a Party Wholesale, your ultimate destination for all things balloons. Having a Party Wholesale is on the cutting edge of new products that will wow your clients from top brands like Tuftex, Jamar, Anagram, Ellie's, Sempertex, Premium Conwin, and introducing Brookloon, a new balloon line created by the Having a Party family. They've got the widest selection to fuel your creativity. Join the successful league of professional balloon artists who shop at haveinaparty.com. All right, welcome back. So you needed a break. You needed to stop.
Yes.
And I'm not asking you like what's next because like I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But like in the meantime, are you like shutting down your website? Are you liquidating your stuff? Are like what are you actually doing? Or are you like just kind of letting it sit and doing your teaching obligations? Because I know you have some things on the calendar.
I do. So I am liquidating some stuff. I mean, I'm going to keep every balloon that I own, because I do want to still create. So, and there are some things that I could have just gotten rid of even if I was still in the business. So I am liquidating some things. I did sell like a couple of my disco walls, which was really hard.
Yeah.
But that was actually one of the things that was really getting to be like really hard for me. And so anyway, so that's gone for now.
Yeah.
But I can make another one if I need to. It's totally fine. But yeah, so I'm liquidating some things. I guess I'm finishing out, I'm teaching next week for Vitalik at the
Mhm.
Balloonathon in New Jersey. So right now I'm focusing on just making sure that that class is amazing and that class is ready to go, kind of just cleaning out my warehouse, cleaning out my home, sort of just making like a really like peaceful environment. One
Mhm.
of the things about like all of this was that it wasn't the thing about the pain and what that brought out was like the pain brought out so much more. It almost
Hmm.
was like this like wake up call to all the other things that were really frustrating me in the
Oh,
business.
interesting. Okay.
And like it was all the other things that I suppressed because I'm like, oh, it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. Because those are the things you like force yourself to push through. Like you were saying, the weekends, being away from my kids, not having enough time with them, all of like my house being a chaotic mess because I never have time to like be there to
Hmm.
organize it, all those things. So that's a big focus right now is making that environment really peaceful, making this environment peaceful. And then, yeah, teaching is a big thing for me. I mean, I look back now and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have given up Fox Creative Share. I should have been
Well,
over here.
that's what I was just going to ask because I just got an email a while ago saying like it's done. Like you're no
Yeah,
longer going to have access. Like, is there part of you that thinks you might go back to that or you're not quite sure? Well, you would do it in a different way
in
anyway.
a different way anyway, so
Hmm.
that's fine. I mean, I really, really do enjoy teaching. I think I'm pretty good at it, so there's
Hmm.
that. But like, I mean, I've always wanted to do a couple of other courses, like really intense courses prior to this. So, this happened. So now, okay, that's something I'll focus on. So I will focus on that. But yeah, today it's just clean out, liquidate what I can, have some fun with social media. I'll be honest, like it's stressful. It's not like I don't know what people's perceptions are. We all have our ideas in mind of what people are like, or maybe what their situations are like, but it is very stressful. Like, I do need money. I live in
Yeah.
California. I do still have an overhead. I think like that's one of the most difficult things about this was being like, okay, I have to put some trust and some faith that it's going to be okay and that things will come my way that I can do to pay the
Yeah.
bills right now. That was really huge. And it's hard. Like I'm like, okay, it's not like, oh, I know I'm gonna have this amount of money coming in from this business and all
Yeah.
those things. And I do have some money put away, but I don't want to touch it if I don't have to. And like
Yeah. Yeah.
there's all those things. So yeah, I still need to make money. Like it's not
Well,
really an option.
and like you said, I mean, I do feel kind of like an addict in the sense where it's like, I mean, I can see how you would get sucked back in because if someone's like, "Hey, can you just like make me an arch real quick?" It's like
I know.
that's like $500 of free money. Like I can do it. I have the stuff. It's not that hard. It's really close to my house. Like you can
Right.
just tell yourself all the things and you're like, "Yeah, yeah, $500, of course."
Totally.
But like you said, then all of a sudden you're going to be doing it a couple times a
Again,
week
again.
and then you're full time again and then your back is hurt, your neck is hurting again. So it is, I
Yeah.
totally understand how it is hard to make that break.
Yeah.
Um, but it's also, it's, I don't want to say easy money, but like I make money in different ways too. Like I make
Right.
podcast money. I have, I sell some courses. I do the balloons. In terms of like the amount of money you can make, balloons is the way to go. I mean, like it's way harder to make the same amount of money doing
Teaching or
content and teaching it. Like it's hard. So it's like, yeah, the balloons are definitely going to be
oh
appealing,
yeah.
I think. Yeah.
100%.
Did you ever think of selling?
Yes, I did. I pondered it. But like I said, I wasn't 100%, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do with this. It's
Right.
like, do I want to build a personal brand off Feathered Fox?
Yeah.
Do I want to, I mean, there's so many coaches
Well,
out there right now that it's like, I know it's annoying, but I also am like, I know I have something to offer to this community in
hmm
that aspect. Do I want to do that? Do I want that to brand there? So, yeah, no. I do
yeah.
have like some higher end clients that I have friends sort of taking over and like I know it's people are like, you could just sell it and you can make money. I'm like, I
Well, but
just
you can make money once and then
right.
it's done. That's the thing. That's what I think about selling my business. I'm like, what would I sell it for? I mean,
Right,
realistically, like 50 grand. Okay, that'd be
right,
amazing once. And then two
right.
years from now, it's like, well, I wish I still
Yeah,
had that inflator so
I
I could
know.
hustle and make some
It's
money.
it's a very difficult business to
It
sell.
is. It is. Especially
Really.
I have no employees. It's not like it's a turnkey situation. Like, yeah, we're
Yeah,
renting a space. There's a manager. The bookings are in place. Just buy it. Like I don't have any of that and I don't want any of that. Um,
right.
I don't want to manage people as, more than I already do. Like I feel like I have a sweet thing going. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is hard. There's not just like an easy solution to kind of like get out, especially because it sounds like you want to stay in the industry.
Yeah, I do. I do want to stay in the industry, and it doesn't necessarily mean I want it to be mostly balloon related, but I am excited to have a little bit of freedom to try and do more just artistic, creative things that I haven't had time to do.
Yeah.
That'll be nice to be able to experiment with that. Because in general, I just love creating. Balloons sort of became that outlet of creating
Hmm.
something I really enjoyed and loved. And I loved the look of balloons and the way you can play with them and shape them and how much you can do with them. So, but it will be nice to be able to experiment in other areas. But yeah, I don't really I have my head isn't like, I want out of this industry. I hate it so much. It's not,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's a very difficult business though. And I
Yeah.
think that's another thing, like, I really want to, I think, get out there in the industry is like people getting into this business and really being realistic, not like, hey, this industry sucks. No, it doesn't suck, but like people understanding more like what it takes, how hard it is. And hopefully that sort of influences people to start charging appropriately so that, we have less people kind of coming in and just undercutting. I feel like that's actually I don't know what it's like where you're at, but in California, it is very difficult to hire. It is really hard to
Mm,
hire. And part of it, I think, being that it's very difficult for us to compete with paying people what we want to pay them or feel that they probably deserve in order to stick it out in this industry. When they can make $25 plus insurance, plus benefits, plus this and that at Chipotle,
yeah.
it's really difficult.
I know.
California.
Sometimes I'm like, I should work at Chipotle. Why am I not working there?
Oh, I'm like, I just can't. Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard. And training people as a whole, that was another thing. Why don't you just train people? And I'm like, oh, you make it sound so easy.
Oh, yeah.
It is hard. I've tried training some people to go out and do they do an okay job? Yes. Have they disappointed me a lot? Yes. Yeah, that's really hard. This business in general is extremely stressful, very stressful. I mean, the amount of times I've been running around LA trying to get a new sign made because the sign was made improperly and the event's the next day and the planner keeps calling. I mean, just the I can't
Yeah.
breathe. Like it's a lot. People
Hmm.
really don't get it.
Yeah. No. And I think people listening will because that's, it's balloon people. But I
Right.
always say it's really, really easy to start a balloon business and it's
Mhm.
really hard to keep it going. Like
It is, yeah.
anybody can go out and buy a bag of balloons, but
Right.
like once you start getting into the financial aspect of growing, like as soon as you
Yeah.
need a van, a space, um, payroll expenses, any employees, taxes, like that stuff sucks, but it's expensive. And then, like you said, the physicality of it. Like it sounds so dumb because it's balloons and people think they're like lighter than air, and you're just like, what are
Right.
you complaining about? I'm like, no, I just did five 30-foot arches on a football field, each of with like 100 pounds on each base. And it's like
Yeah.
that's like moving a school bus
I
like
know.
in
It
little
is.
pieces. So
Totally.
it's a lot physically. And like I've talked about this in, group chats I'm in. Like we're all getting older and I feel like in your 30s is when your body really starts betraying you and just like breaking down.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Totally.
like add a baby in there and I'm just like screwed.
You're
So it's
done.
like the first time that I've had this realization of like, oh, whoa, I like really can't do this forever. Like
Yeah.
I'd say like, oh, eventually, but it's not like, yeah, when I'm 80. It's like, no, when I'm like 45, this is gonna be pretty impossible to do. Like I'm
Totally.
hurting. I'm having like aches and pains. So yeah, I think exit planning is always kind of one of those things that's on the top of my list. Like what am I going to do? And my plan is honestly just to retire early. Like I'm hustling hard now, so I have enough to retire early because
Yeah.
I don't understand these people who do it until they're like 80 years old. I physically
There.
can't.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, I'll be 43 this coming year. And so, yeah, it's been a lot. The last year has been a lot. And I'm in like fairly good shape, fairly good health, fairly good. And
Hmm.
it's been hard. It's just even like you do an installation on the ceiling and you're just like this the whole time,
Yeah.
looking. That's another thing is like the amount of times you're constantly looking up and reaching up in your arms and your neck and your back. And like I was doing an installation once and my assistant was behind me and I was setting up and she's taking pictures of me from behind, but it was like a very awkward time. Like, why are you taking pictures? And she showed me this picture. She's like, look at your back. My back was literally like so defined though. Like it was like muscles like popping out. I'm like, that is all from pulling balloons, reaching up, lifting
Hmm.
those weights. Like I don't go to the gym. Like that's all from that. Like
Yeah.
it's just a lot on your body.
And I think
So,
like those little micro movements too. Like I can definitely feel the start of
mhm.
something carpal tunnely happening.
Yeah,
Definitely like right here on my
yeah.
thumbs. I don't know what that is, but I'm well, I'll go to like twist to open a baby bottle and that
Oh yeah,
motion is like agonizing. And I know it's from the balloons because I've done it
totally.
how many hundreds of thousands of times, and like
Yeah.
over time. So I don't know what the moral of that story is. It's like we need some sort of balloon doctor out here helping us all
You do.
survive. My
I
gosh, but it's hard. If anything, hopefully people listening like feel heard. Like it's
yeah.
so like you tell people who don't do balloons and they don't hear it. They don't get it. And you're
Yeah.
like, "No, like I'm in pain. This is real."
Yeah. I think too is like there are, I don't know. There is a part of this story within all of us though that I think sometimes we push ourselves to stay in it because of a feeling that it gives us, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if we're really truly being honest, like I mean, I think I pushed myself longer to stay in it because of that. Like, oh, I mean, yes, do I like it? Are there, it's not like that it's all just like, oh, it makes me feel good. But like, yeah, like, oh, like it makes me feel like a part of something. It makes
Yeah.
me
Oh yeah.
feel like I'm good at something. It makes me feel like it's valuable in a certain way. And it's like, I think sometimes too, we have to like really think about like, is this it's not always going to have to be about the balloons. Like, is this really what we want for our lives? Is this what we want for our lives? Does it fit in with our lifestyle? Does it fit in with our plan? And like, sometimes you got to work because you got to work. Like, and I
Yeah.
get that. Like, I've been there. I have been there. And sometimes it gets to the point where like, you just have to say no. Like, I cannot do this. I can't continue to do it. It is more detrimental to my life than it is positive. And it's like, that's where it got for me. It was like, the positives had always outweighed the negatives of the job. And then
Hmm.
there was just over the last like 6 months, 2 years, just like this massive shift where the negatives became so much more powerful than the positives. And it was like,
Yeah.
so why am I still pushing through? What are those little positives that are like holding me in there? You know, it's like
Yeah.
I had to let go. It's hard to let go of that. It really is. There is, and
Yeah.
listen, the bottom line is we all get jealous sometimes. We all look at other people's work. We all look and we go, oh, why am I not still doing that? Oh, look how much attention they're getting from doing that job. Like, let's just be honest. Like, am I a vindictive, jealous person? No, but I'm normal. I'm the same normal person. But it's like you have to put yourself in check and be like, hey, like, this is not the life that's meant for you right now. Like, it's clear. Your body's telling you. Your
Yeah.
mental health is telling you this is not the life for you right now. Like, you have more purpose in life than creating balloons for people. Like, you can do other things that are serving to the community, you know? So
Yeah.
that's just kind of, I don't know where I'm at. And I do feel for other people that are going through the same thing. I really do. A lot of people messaged me and they were like, I'm so miserable. Like I'm
Yeah.
so burnt out. I'm so tired. And like I wish I had an answer. I wish I had the answer of like do this or do that or hire more or hire this. But and that may help some people, it might, but sometimes the answer is just stepping back or stepping away or taking a breath and like rethinking like is this what you really want and is this going to be in service to you in your life right now? So,
Yeah. I mean, I'm struggling with that too. I think this year was definitely a big shift,
yeah.
having a baby.
Right?
And as much as I want to say, like, oh, I really want to cut back. Oh, I really want work-life balance. Oh, it's like when I drive by and I see balloons somewhere in my town that I didn't do, I'm like mad. I'm like angry. Or like my October, like I hit my financial goal for the year. last month,
Good for
which
you.
probably means that it wasn't super aggressive. I set like a very realistic, like, here's what I need to live on comfortably.
Right.
And then when I hit that, I'm kind of flailing. Like I'm like, well, what do I do? Just not take jobs? And like October, I've really like kind of protected my calendar and I have like 4 jobs in all of October. And
Yeah.
instead of being like, this is incredible, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Why am I a
Right.
loser? Like what? And
Right.
it's like, no, I said no to the jobs. They like your brain just messes with you so much. And it's like I think of when I was at like a more corporate job. If they had been like, hey, if you get all your work done in September, you can just like take the rest of the year off. I would be like, holy crap, that is the
Right.
best incentive ever. Like, I am going to hustle hard and be done. But for some reason, when I know there's almost always more work to be had, I feel like I'm doing something wrong, like I'm being lazy, like I'm losing jobs that should have been mine. Like, it is very hard to set those limits when you are a little bit of a workaholic, but also, like you said, you get a little bit of your value or at least like a little bit of an adrenaline
Yes.
high when you're
Yes.
doing these visible, high profile. Like, I think it's easier to not really care when you're like, I don't know, doing spreadsheets at your desk. But when you're like the
Totally.
life of the party and you're like seeing other people be the life of the party when you're
Yeah.
at home not working, it's like it
It's
gets to
hard.
you. It feels like a bit of a bummer.
Totally. No, it really does. And I think like it's nice to be like honest with people about that because I know we all go through it. And I think it's not just balloon people. I think it's just entrepreneurship in general. It's like most of us are very competitive people.
Yeah.
And so learning, I think, to be content with where we're at and where is hard for anybody. Okay, it's even harder for
Hmm.
competitive people. Being content is probably the hardest thing I think to do in life in general. Then add in an artistic
Yeah,
personality,
right.
add in the entrepreneurship, and it's really truly like having to have these conversations with yourself at all times and like reminding yourself, no, it's okay. Like you don't have to do it all. Like you are valuable. Like you provide something to your community. You're good at what you do. Like that should be enough, right? But
Yeah.
so, and I think having other people to talk about it with is probably really where, the comfort comes in and helps us to sort of deal with it. But
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
difficult.
And a lot of people don't have anyone to talk to. Like, I'm in a couple of group chats where I'm like very close with other women.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people who aren't.
Yeah.
I meet people in person at events. That's why I always say it's worth the money. But like
Yeah.
after I left my job 2 years ago and I realized, like, I'm just kind of realizing now, like, oh, I
Yeah.
have no coworkers. Like, I have no one around me who gets what I'm doing. So I think if you don't have those close people, like in the industry, it is really hard because no one gets it. I'll
Yeah.
call my mom and she's like, well, hang in there. It's like, no, I just need you to feel worse for me.
Right. Totally. No, it's true. It's very difficult to understand. And events in general is a very different than anything I've ever experienced. I mean,
Yeah.
not that I've done all these entrepreneurial things, but like I was, Pilates instructor and I helped run a studio for a friend. And I'm like, this is a totally different world. Like
Yeah.
it's very different. And like it's funny too because I'm talking to a friend of mine who does production work, but she works with unions a lot. And they were just talking about like how, I mean, they are working like 15 to 20-hour days sometimes, right? And then but they have these like union rules of like if they're working more than this, they have to be paid this and we have to this and all this. And I'm like, see, it's like we're taking on all that same stress and anxiety and all these things. And then people are going, but can we pay you half? Like, so
Right.
on,
Yeah.
like on top of all of that, we're having people come at us wanting to pay less but we're working more. Like, we don't have unions to protect
Right.
those things. It's tough. It's a tough balance, but
Yeah, it is. And I think, let's take a break, but something I want to talk about too that I think rolls into this and you mentioned earlier is like this idea of a personal brand. I think it's way harder when like you are the face. And that's
yeah,
not the truth for everybody, but I think most balloon people like your work is a direct reflection of you and you are the business versus doing some job for a production company and no one knows who you are and you're just in the background. Like
right.
the stress of all of it, I think is extra because like we are the face of our business
Right.
and people know. So let's take a break and then talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
If you're looking to grow your balloon business through sales and marketing, Balloon Suite is the high-tech toolkit designed just for you. Let's chat with Jeff Kelly, owner of Balloon Suite, to answer one of your sales and marketing questions. All right, today, Jeff, Squeak Balloon Decor, my friend Travis, he wants to know who are the best people to market to on LinkedIn. Such a mystery for me. LinkedIn is like boring Facebook. I hate it. But there's a lot of useful information out there. Who are we even looking for on there?
If you're interacting with LinkedIn, hi Travis, thanks for the question. If you're interacting on LinkedIn, then you are interacting with people typically at mid to large size companies who are thinking about work. They're using LinkedIn as a tool. They're using it to keep up with their peers, maybe from other companies that they've worked at in the past or people they've met during their journey and their career. They're using it for resources around hiring or recruiting or how do I solve this kind of problem. I used to use LinkedIn when I was in corporate to contact people from other companies in the same role to see if I could find out how they were solving problems. So you need to think about LinkedIn as a place where medium and large size business employees are interacting, thinking about work. That really helps you focus then. Maybe you're using it for some outreach. I'm trying to figure out who the person is that does this at that business. And then I want to go figure out how to meet them. Maybe what you're doing is you're putting out some content that helps them solve the problems they have in their day-to-day. The more specific you can get about who specifically you're trying to reach at those medium and large size businesses, the easier it is for you to figure out, great, how can I go meet them? Or how could I share a piece of content that might be relevant to them so that I get the opportunity for them to look at me or my business and potentially reach out.
All right, thank you so much. Balloon Suite helps boost your sales, solve everyday problems, and keeps you on track to reach your goals. Check out the link to Balloon Suite in the show notes wherever you're listening, or head right to balloonsuite.com. All right, welcome back. Let's just touch on personal brand. We've talked about that a few times, kind of unintentionally throughout this episode, but you mentioned you didn't really want to sell your business because it could turn into a personal brand. I would argue it already has. Like I would have a hard time separating you from that brand.
Right.
I think balloons in general, we are creative people. We want a little bit of that attention. We like being the one to kind of come in and create the thing. It's
Yeah.
different than working at Starbucks where you're not the face of the coffee, right? Like they don't care. They just come in, and I think all of that is layered on with those stressors that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So how do you see that moving forward? Like if you're going to stay in the industry, I don't see you separating from that. Like I think you're going to be even more the face of a brand.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I definitely feel like there's so many avenues I can go within a personal brand of things I would want to create. I mean, I think we all look up to Lily from Creative Heart Studio. I think she's done such a great job at branding herself, but also the business and like using her face for the brand.
And
So
also she'll be the first to tell you it's not easy. What
exactly, and
what
it's
she does
not
is
easy.
not easy.
No, I mean, it's a full, I talk about that with a friend of mine all the time. I'm like, if I do decide to go in that direction, I'll probably be busier, but just in a different way.
Right, right.
I'm not expecting to not be busy or not work hard. That's never been an issue for me. It's just more like, where do I want to go?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think, so the thing about personal brand, it's really interesting because I wonder now looking back, like, I'm glad I built such like a personal brand. I think people are always like, before they knew my name, everybody was like, hey, Feathered Fox, hey, Feathered Fox. So I think
Yeah.
people relate that to me. So it's kind of cute and it's fun, right? It's like playful. But I actually just recently found this account and I think it's called Faceless or something, Faceless Brand or Faceless. And it actually is trying to help people to promote their brands like without their face,
Oh
like
yeah.
without being, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. I wonder if more people than we realize are kind of struggling with this, where we were being told 5 years ago, like, put your face out there.
Right,
You
right.
gotta connect. And I do agree with that. But I do think there isn't a very intentional way to build your brand without being the face of it,
Hmm.
especially if you don't have any desire or plans to teach if you strictly just want to run a balloon business, I think there's a really, really awesome way. And there's a very, like, I think there's a good way to build a brand without using your face and to build a great company. I'm sure, like, I'm no expert on that. I really just started looking
Yeah,
into
no.
it. So, but I think there's a lot of people out there who can teach you how to do that. And honestly, if you have no plans to teach, you have no plans to coach or anything like that, I would say go in that direction because it really is a much different thing to be the face of
Yeah.
the brand, like you were saying. And like there is a lot more pressure in a different way. Like
Well,
people
and it's weird that
expect
it's just
you.
like it's expected, you know? Like people
Exactly.
expect me to show up and do the balloons.
Mhm.
They expect me to answer the phone. Like I had a friend order balloons this morning and he was
Right.
like very confused that someone besides me responded to his email versus like if I book a plumber, I do not expect that person on the phone to come and fix my
Right.
toilet. Like I don't expect that. I mean, I don't expect to know who's coming. It's just like whoever they send, you know? So I think
Right.
other brands, it's not as common, but for us, for some reason, I think because we're more associated with like the arts and they think like we're the one doing the art. But if you send
Right.
someone else, it's like, well, they work for me. Like that's how
Right.
businesses work, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, right. It is. And I have a high appreciation for people who are good at doing that. I really do. Who are good at training is not easy to do.
Yeah,
Like
right.
hiring the right people is not easy to do. It takes time. It's a skill that some people are really good at and some people aren't. So I have a lot of appreciation
Oh,
for people who do
100%.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that like if you're just starting your business, I think that's something to really ponder. Like, do I want to be the face of this business? Do I want people like being like, well, why isn't she here? Why isn't blah? Not that you
Right.
should never show your face, but like being very strategic and mindful of how you're promoting your business.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like there was no, I'm glad it went the direction it did for me. I am. I like being the face. I like being out there. I like talking. I like
Oh,
stirring
I
things up a
love
little
attention.
bit.
I love it.
Let's be honest. Like we're all attention whores. I'm just kidding. We love it. No, it's fun. I've always been a performer. Like I like
Right.
that. It is what but having said that, I also think like when we started, there was more of that, like you have to be the face. You
Yeah.
have to. And now I'm seeing more people promote another side of it. And I'm like, huh, like that wasn't even really an option that I even thought about.
Right.
So I just think like if you're starting now, it might be a good thing to think about, like how do you
For
want to
100%. And I mean, this is not probably the direction anyone wants to go, but my daughter, what like all the little YouTube or creator accounts she watches are like hands mixing paint or
Right.
hands building Legos or like hands doing something stupid with little car figurine, like they are these faceless accounts and they're just really consistent. Even I watch some on Instagram where it's like they're like tutorials, but they're for the how to, not necessarily the who. And I
Yeah.
do think that's interesting. Sometimes I watch this kid's YouTube and I'm like, man, I missed the boat here. I should have like done marble runs as my
Right.
full-time job. That would have made me millions of dollars versus all of
Yeah.
this stuff I'm doing. But
Well, what's that one account? Tie me a balloon or what is it called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
yes, and it just shows from the neck down.
Yes. And I'm
Yeah.
like, genius.
What is it? Here's a balloon. It's just like tutorials,
Something
and then
like
the
that.
the link
Tie
in
up.
bio goes to selling balloons. Like
Right.
it's smart.
Smart. Yeah, I
Yeah. Oh my
agree. And
gosh.
by the way, we love hearing about your daughter. So
Wow. She is, talk about attention. She is
yeah,
gonna be a force.
I love that. Though. How old is she?
Now she is 5. She just turned 5, but she's such a vibe. She's so cool. She wears like a full Adidas tracksuit to school every day.
No, she
She
does
has
not. I
such
love it.
such a unique sense of style, and she doesn't care. She's the best. And then my other one's 8 months, so she's growing up fast as well.
Oh, so
Yeah.
happy for
Thank
you.
you. Yeah,
I know
but
it's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot. And even like, like you said at the beginning, your body was hurting, but like even if you're not like hurt, like injured, even
Yeah,
having a baby, like that's something that's like pretty predictable or planned. I mean, unless you're me,
right.
but like even that, it's not something that works well with having a balloon business. Like there's no
No,
convenient
no.
time to take 6 months off.
Right.
I didn't install the week I gave birth. And like 4 days later, and I sent my husband and my employee, and it was hell. It was terrible. I wish I hadn't done it, but it was like you do what you got to do, and sometimes
Yeah.
you hustle a little too hard, and you regret it
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. And sometimes you're just getting through and that's okay.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
all are
Well,
going through that.
I know you're still figuring it out. I appreciate how open you're being too. I think a lot of people, like we talked about this last time in your last interview too, when you were kind of ending Fox Creative Share about like sometimes things end. And it doesn't mean like, I quit or I failed or something happened. It's like sometimes it's just an end of that
Yeah.
chapter.
Yeah.
But staying in the balloon world or staying balloon world adjacent, I'm assuming you
Yeah.
have like some ideas. Are any of those, I don't know, either developed enough or not at all developed? So like you can just spitball. Like, do you have ideas of things you want to work on, things that are interesting, or are you like literally you don't have a plan?
Well, so for a long time I've wanted to do like a very, very in-depth like business like course, really focusing on like pricing. And so that is something that I really want to do. I would love to do a little bit of personal coaching, like get into people's computer systems and like just really help them get the back ends of their business organized. And I'm actually going to help a friend with that. So maybe that'll be like a test of like,
Yeah.
is this for me or not? Because it is something that I really wish like I had somebody with me doing when I first started. And it's like, if I had had those things organized from day one, can you even imagine? So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
would be fun and to feel confident in those things. So I think that's probably the most like predictable, like what I would do, but it is something that's been on my mind for a while. So I will do that. Um, Something I kind of like have thought about doing, and honestly, it may be something I wouldn't even make a dollar out, but I feel like, hey, it might be fun to do, is I really want to make like a coffee table book of like,
Oh,
but like of like the balloon world and just like the fascination of like balloons and like the beauty of it and like all those like historical things that have gone. I just think it would just be such a fun. It's really for I mean, yes, would it be mostly for our industry? Yeah, but like, do you know how many coffee table books I have on like florals or like,
yeah.
like anything that's just beautiful to look at? I love those things. And so
Yeah.
like, I had bought I bought it was Dolly Parton's like new
Oh,
book.
I love her.
And it's really a coffee table book, honestly. It's just like a big, big, beautiful, like fun. It has like some historical stuff about her and her life and stories in there. And it's just like a fun book to have like around. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I was looking at it and I'm like, we need a balloon coffee table book. Like we need to do this. So I would say that's definitely like in the back of my mind and something I would really love to do. I think it would be more of like a passion project than anything, but it is on my vision board. So it's written down and we'll see if it gets done at some point in a year or so. We'll see. So,
Nice.
uh,
Cool. Would you ever kind of delve into other industries?
um, yeah. What do you have like, are you thinking something
Like,
specific or?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Because I get that question a lot. People are like, "Oh, you should your podcast is helpful to more than just balloon people." Like I have a florist friend and she listens. She's like, "You should do like floral stuff or you should do." And I kind of feel like the more people I try to appeal to, the less potent it is, like there's
Yeah,
there is power in being niched down, but I also understand that if you like open something up to other industries, there's obviously more to it, more there. So I'm comfortable in my little balloon niche, but I feel like a lot of
right,
your like content creation or teaching, like the pricing, like not like you're going to tell people how to price their cookies, but like the basic concept of like, but if your materials
yeah,
cost this and your space costs this, then
right, right.
there's just these other creative niches that are similar to balloons. I think they have similar struggles, timeline crunches,
Yeah.
material, stuff like that. And I just didn't know if you were thinking about any, expansion.
Yeah, I mean, well, so how do I say? I guess like in the course that I wanted to come out with, I was going to name it and brand it without balloons in there
Okay.
because it's a course that truly anybody that's in an artistic industry, honestly, a lot of people could take it, but the way I would like to like write it out is that anybody like a cookie person or a cake person or a stay-at-home mom who sells like, I don't know, acrylic something like isn't
Yeah.
artistic, where there is the thing about balloons is like, yes, you're pricing an item, but you're also pricing your value because let's be honest, like some of us are better than others, or some of us have more
Hmm.
confidence than others, or we know what we bring to the table. We have more experience, and so you're gonna add to your pricing based on that. So I
Yeah.
think in any artistic, business that you have that element to it. So I do feel like that aspect of it, I definitely could broaden, I
Yeah.
guess, to my reach is. Um, But yeah, I mean, the idea of a podcast has always been on the table for me. But I'll be honest, I don't know that I want to just like talk about balloons. Like I,
Yeah. Well, I think it would be hard if you're not doing the event side of it. It could be,
yeah,
that, I mean, that
yeah.
would obviously be a broader topic, bringing
I
other
have
people.
like kind of thought in the back of my head, but like, is having a podcast more related to like a lot? Because of my frustration, I guess it's like they always say something good is comes about from your frustration with
Oh,
something.
yeah. Right.
So it's like creating like you're creating something for somebody that's missing in the industry. And like from my perspective, and this may not be, for people listening today, or maybe there's some people listening, but like I get frustrated when I am listening to like these business coaches that are just very much like into like your star signs and you're this and you're that and like to them, they're like, what are those things called, your anagram, and I just am like, I don't need all of that. Like I want it to be different. I want it to really be like focused on like running your business, like in a positive way, but being
Okay.
honest, being like for me spiritually, like having God involved, like not just like, oh, hey, like you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. Like you can do whatever you put your mind to. Like I feel like sometimes we get caught up in that. Like we get caught up in the like, you can just do it. If you can, you should. And instead of
Yeah. Yeah.
like, just because I can, should I?
Yeah.
I just want to talk about those things more than the like, you can do whatever you want type of thing. I really,
Yeah.
I mean, that may be true, but does that mean that we should? I feel like we need to like all be a little bit more like looking inward. Like, are these the things that are good for our lives, the things that we want? Like, those are questions I wish I had asked myself more when I was younger,
Hmm.
not
Yeah.
necessarily just in now in this business, but even younger. So I don't know. There's so many things I would love to do and love to talk about, but I think like we were talking about, I just need like a minute,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah. And I
know?
think, I think the idea, like you said, doing the coaching with your friend first, kind of like testing the waters. Cause I've done some things where I'm just like, actually, I hate this. Like I
Right.
was going to build a whole business around it, but turns out it sucks and I never want to do
Right.
this again. And I'm glad I didn't build a whole website and do all the things. So I think just,
Yeah.
yeah, playing and experimenting could be really fun. Are
Testing the
you
waters.
are you keeping your studio space, your warehouse?
I am, yeah. So my lease on my warehouse isn't up for another year.
Okay.
So, I mean, I kind of have to keep, I mean, I could sublease it. I'm sure I could find someone to sublease it if I wanted to, but with all the things I kind of want to do, it would be really hard for me to get rid of it.
Yeah.
I talked about it with my husband and he was just like, well, where are you going to put everything in the house?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, where he's like, no, like he does not want all this stuff back in there. So I was like, okay, well, we'll just we have savings for, 5, 6 months. So like if we need to pull to cover for a while, we can, like,
Yeah.
we'll be okay. Hopefully I'll start making, I mean, I do have money coming in from some other things. So like it'll be fine. Like I have a good 6 months that I can breathe before I feel like I'm gonna need to like really start making some money. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I don't know. I'll be keeping
Well,
it. You'll be seeing me dance around in a turtle costume in here.
well, what was your last installation like? You just did it, right? And because you announced it, you were like September, what was it, 25th or something? You were
Yeah,
like,
it was September 28th was the last one.
so
So,
like you announced that, and I was like, that must be really good, like
yeah,
knowing it's your last one. Because I knew like leading up to when I was gonna have a baby when my last one was. Turns out I had her 3 weeks early, so I didn't really get to celebrate the last one, but
yeah,
I did have it on my calendar, and it was like a nice thing to like kind of work
yeah.
towards. Like, what was that? What was that like?
It was really good. It was like a very simple, easy. It was for Tara Lipinski,
Oh,
actually. You're an
cool.
ice skating fan. So it was her daughter's first birthday, and it was actually really special. She had really struggled with getting pregnant,
Okay.
and I did her baby shower last year. They ended up going with a surrogate because she couldn't carry a pregnancy. It was like a very big deal. So for her to like call me back to do the first birthday was really sweet. So it was nice. It was like just a nice sort of easy job. It was a winter wonderland theme. We had like ice skates out and stuff. And like
Cute.
it was just an easy couple panels, like, some printouts, some vinyl, like a couple bouquet. It was just nice and it was easy and it was just one and done that day. And I just left and I was like, that's it. Like
Did
we're
you like,
done.
did you cry? Did you like clean out your van? Did you go to
No, I was like, thank you,
dinner?
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. You were happy, right?
I was happy. The weekend before was very stressful. Like I had a crazy amount of jobs the weekend prior, and like everything that could go wrong was going wrong. And
Mm,
so I was just like, that weekend, I was like, I cannot wait for my last install. Like I
yeah.
am so done with this. So it was nice that I only had, wait, did I have another job? No, I think that was the only job I had that weekend. So it was really just like, yeah, I didn't cry. I just kind of like looked at my assistant, we just high-fived, and then we went and got coffee and just hung out for a bit and chatted, kind of like
Yeah.
talked about this type of stuff. And I was like, that's it. But
Well, okay. So what about her?
so she's like the most amazing person. So she works for a church.
Okay.
So she works part-time for a church. She has a little one who's one. She doesn't really like need a lot of income
You're
because
not necessarily like employing her.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. So I mean, she makes money from me, but it's not like, I'm not like paying all her bills or anything.
Yeah.
She's super supportive. She also, like her background is more like photography, content creation, like marketing stuff. So I do believe there's like still a role for her in the future. So she knows like, hey, like let's just keep working on things and see what happens. So I
Yeah.
think she'll be with me for a while, but she knows like it's going to be a little bit, it'll be a few months before we kind of know what direction we're going to take. But and I did have another girl who was doing inflation in the warehouse, and she is wonderful, and she knew it was coming, and like so, and she's still in school and college and stuff, and lives at
Yeah.
home. So it was like they're very like they were totally understanding and sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and then the last question I have before we wrap up is like your content, like your Instagram. Like I saw something go out yesterday or today of you making a mosaic. Like,
yeah.
do you have stuff scheduled out so it doesn't go dormant? Are you going to make things just to make them? Do you have old videos you're repurposing? Like, what is your plan there? Or are you just going to run out and then see what you
You
come
know,
up with next?
right? I mean, I do still have quite a bit of content that I've never posted, so I will
Mm,
continue to kind of get that out there as needed because I don't want my account to go dormant. I do want, I really do want to take a social media break. I took one a couple years ago for like 6 weeks around the holidays, and it was glorious. Like
yeah.
it was so nice. I mean, your engagement, like bottom line, your engagement's gonna go down. Like it's gonna happen. You're gonna lose some followers and all that stuff, but like it comes back. So I think
Yeah.
knowing, like having done it before is a little more motivating. I think it would be really good for me to honestly take a step back and it'll help clear my mind because social media is definitely a huge distraction, I think, for everybody. But it's also very powerful, so I don't want to lose it. So
Yeah. Right.
yeah, I will continue to post the content of things that I haven't posted. Maybe I'll repurpose some stuff. But I also love making like silly, funny reels like that are relatable to the industry. And so I'll definitely still be doing that. I just filmed a reel yesterday that I think is hilarious. So I'll, I enjoy that stuff. And yeah, I will do some content creation. I do have some companies that still like to send me things and to promote for them. And I love that. I can do
Yeah.
some creating in the warehouse. I can take my time. There's no like pressure. I don't have to like get on ladders and all the
Yeah,
things.
no, there's totally a need for that because like sometimes I'll get like a PR package and I'm like very grateful, but I'm also like
I don't have time.
juggle like I'm like I have like 6 jobs this weekend. I don't have time to just like blow up more balloons for funsies to like
Right.
show the internet. Like I don't have time right now. I have like beautiful samples out there that I'm just like dying to use, but I'm like I don't like
Yeah.
have time. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
hard, I think brands sometimes just think like, "Oh, just like make a video, like use these in a display." And it's like, well, if people haven't ordered them, I'm not
Yeah.
like just out there making fake stuff, you know? So I
stuff.
think that's a little bit
Totally.
hard. So you do have an
Yeah.
opportunity to kind of be that person, which is cool.
Yeah, and we nice. I mean, you don't make a ton of money from
Right.
those things. I don't know if anybody really realizes like these influencers, they don't make much money off this stuff. Like it's not a lot, but
Right.
it's something, and it's also like content. It's also content so that at least there's engagement. So that when there is something that either I'm teaching somewhere or have something that I can like give or produce for the community specifically, I have that engagement, and like so I do have something like last year there was a company called Katie Story. They sent me this gorgeous flower wall, but like I was in the thick of my business. I'm like,
Yeah.
I could post it one time. Like I don't have time to sit here and set this thing up and like you were
Right.
saying. But now it's like they can send me things and I'm like, okay, I can create something around this and I can showcase it for you and maybe I can make a little bit of money, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I will continue to do that and I'm kind of really just open to like whatever comes my way right now,
Yeah.
Bonjour Fete. Do you know Bonjour
Hmm.
Fete? Okay. So, I mean, we've been in contact for years. When I first started, she actually was trying to get me to leave my business and work for her. But I knew that wasn't the direction I wanted to go, but we've always kept in touch and we've have a really great friendship. And she saw that I was leaving and literally like 2 days later was like, so, so I know she has some projects she's working on, and so maybe I'll have an opportunity to get involved with her on some things. Yeah, I do
Well, that's
love this
cool.
community. It's like weird. It's a very different community, but I do love it. Like
Yeah.
some of the greatest friendships I have were made through,
Yeah. Oh, 100%. All my best friends are balloon people, but
right?
well, let's
It's
take one
like,
final break and then we'll end on some light and fun questions before we
okay,
wrap up. Before we wrap up this week's episode, I wanted to let you know that the 2025 Bright Balloon Business Planner is now available on Amazon. I created this planner a few years back when I was looking to purchase a planner to set my business goals, and everything I found was way too overwhelming. It included everything from a monthly schedule to your kids' soccer practice schedule to your grocery list. It was way too much. So I created something very simple and straightforward, simply for your business, for setting realistic goals and tracking your important numbers. So if that is something that will help you in your business, like it's helped me, it's available now. You can search on Amazon for the Bright Balloon Business Planner or click the link in the show notes wherever you're listening. I hope it helps. All right, welcome back. Let's wrap it up with our last three
okay,
questions.
okay.
The first one is, where is your favorite place to go on vacation?
Oh, I like these. Oh, that's so hard though. I'm gonna say I haven't been in a while, but I would say probably Maui,
Oh,
Hawaii.
okay.
I'm a
Very nice. I
beach
want to go to Hawaii.
person.
That's on my list. I haven't been yet.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It
I'm
really is.
I'm not like a long flight person. I get
Me neither.
squirrely after a couple hours. So that's kind of the one thing I'm like, I feel like I
Yeah,
could do like three other vacations in the time that I
yeah.
flew just to
I would
Hawaii.
say Cabo is so gorgeous too. I feel like, I mean, it's like it's Cabo, but it's like there's some unbelievable resorts there that are just like gorgeous. But I haven't taken a vacation in a while,
Hey,
so
maybe you should do that now. You have the
maybe
time.
soon. Yeah, exactly.
Next question. What is something tangible, like a thing that you've purchased recently, like 6 months or so, that you're really enjoying?
My Stanley.
Really? You're a Stanley girl?
I wasn't. It's so funny. I was not a Stanley person. Actually, I was like, I'm not buying a Stanley because, everybody had one, right? So I was
Exactly.
going to be the like, I don't need a Stanley person. But Kelly from Poppin Cleveland, Poppin Texas, she bought me one for my birthday a couple of years ago. And then ever since then, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I lost, I feel so bad. I lost the one that she had bought me. So I was like, oh, so then I bought this new one and I'm like, I love a good Stanley. I really do. Like,
I
oh,
feel like I would lose it immediately and I would drop it.
oh,
I can like hear the sound of it. I feel like I've been too scarred from like college having like the clean canteen where you'd like kick it over and it would like roll down like all the steps and
oh,
make
yeah.
so much noise. I feel like loud water bottles, I'm gonna be the dropper of the group.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I did that in a yoga class once. I had like like stainless steel one and it was
Yeah.
so quiet. And it's like Shavasana. And I just like kicked mine over. I was like, sorry. Yeah, so I got you. But no, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't really purchased much recently. So I think my Stanley would probably be the one thing I've purchased recently. Oh, I do also. I bought these color cards that are actually really cool. They're called, let me get it. Hold on. It's like this color box.
Looks like a Rubik's Cube.
It's like a Rubik's Cube, right? In case nobody sees this, it's like a Rubik's Cube, and it has all the like Pantone colors on it, and then you open it up, and it has like these cards with different color palettes on them, and the color palettes are based off of like pictures,
Oh, cool.
like a city, and then like whatever black and white color palette. So it's like really cool because you can just kind of go through
Gives you some inspiration.
from inspiration for color palettes, and then it gives you the actual like RGB numbers so
Oh,
that
neat.
if you want to use that color for something, which I thought was really cool. I found it on like Pinterest or something, and I was like, this
Nice.
is so cute. So
Ah,
that
cool.
would be, I think, probably a better.
Perfect. A+. I'm always looking for things to purchase.
Aren't we
Especially if
all?
it's like Instagram and I can pay with Apple Pay and not get out of bed. Then
Oh
you
my
have my
gosh,
sale. All
so bad, right? Yeah.
right. Last question.
Yeah.
What is a tiny piece of business advice that you would give listeners?
Oh, a tiny one? I would say for me, the biggest thing is like I think taking classes, like,
Mm.
don't be afraid to take classes. Don't be afraid to invest money. It doesn't have to even be a balloon class. It can be a business class or a finance class, something related to running your business. Like, just absorb as much information as you possibly can. I would say is probably the biggest thing that's going to really help you along. Yeah. Not
Wonderful.
too
Well,
broad.
no, that's perfect.
Okay.
That's perfect. I'm the same, and I'm big on paying for classes as well. I know you can find anything for free on YouTube, but by the
No.
time you find it, you could have already learned it and executed it if you just buy the dang course.
100%. It's 100%. I've probably spent 6 or 7 grand on courses in the last
Yeah.
like 3 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thank you for being so open and honest.
yeah.
And congratulations on closing the chapter. And I can't wait to see what comes next.
Thank you.
And I'm sure we will all see it on Instagram when you have whatever big announcement is coming soon, which I'm sure you will have some grand plans in the near future. Can't wait.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light. Our presenting sponsor is 17 Hats, the CRM I use to cut the chaos and manage my entire balloon business. From the lead capture form on my website to workflows and email templates, invoicing and grab-and-go garland automated bookings, it's all powered by 17 Hats, the best customer relationship management system for balloon businesses. There's even a 50% off coupon code waiting for you in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you next week in another episode.